Well, hello and welcome back to another Motivational Monday on See, Hear, Love. And I really love these days as I learn a lot from my co-hosts and our guests on these days. And today is no exception because today we have a very special guest with us all the way from the East Coast of Canada, Leanne Prescott.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here.
Yeah.
And this is fabulous.
Yes. Love
I
the
love
red
it.
lips, girl.
Just for you guys.
Snaps
Okay,
for
thank
you.
Leanne. I'm going to gush on you a little bit, and then I'm going to talk about my great co-hosts that are around you, too.
Okay.
But you are, and this is funny because you're here, and then I'm going to talk about you. Leanne is a Christian artist, an activist, and advocate for the rights and well-being of children globally. She's worked at World Vision Canada for 6 years, equipping and empowering people to make an impact on global poverty and food insecurity. She loves helping, and this is so close to my heart, young Canadians find their advocacy voice and believes the outward expression of love is treating, I love this, all people with dignity and respect.
Yeah.
Amen to that. You're one of our girls.
Oh, thank you.
She's also been a member of the Moncton Wesleyan Church in Moncton, New Brunswick for 18 years and is married to, all right, foodies, get this, chef and cookbook author of Eat Delicious, Dennis Prescott. And if you've been on his Instagram, Dennis the Prescott, wow.
Yeah.
His pictures of food.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
How
Honestly,
are you not
right?
like
Exactly.
500 pounds?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm like, wow. And he's got like over 384,000 followers on
Yeah.
his Instagram account.
Yeah, people dig what he's doing. They love it.
Wow.
Shoot, I
Yeah.
should become a chef. Chef instead of host, I don't know. Anyway, Leanne also believes a hunger-free world is possible, and that's what we're going to be talking about today because I think that what a great cause and belief to believe in that one day that people will not go hungry or starving, and I can't wait to talk to you about that and us to talk to you about that too. And joining us with their incredible wisdom and wit, wonder and beauty, co-host JOANNA and Cheryl. I just
No
love it. I just sort of like bring you up so that you're like always
No pressure.
here.
No pressure.
So glad that you're back and ready for a great, thoughtful discussion with us.
Really excited to be here and to talk to you.
Oh, guys, like really, I feel so welcome. This is good. I'm really excited.
Good. We're going to be singing Kumbaya shortly.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hugs.
I'm in.
Mani-pedi.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole thing.
I'm in.
Well, there's a lot to discuss, so let's dive in. And Cheryl kind of alluded this because I have to start off with this. Dennis, obviously chef and author of this new cookbook. Does he make you amazing meals at home, or is it only just for the public? But does he do great things for you?
No, he does amazing meals at home. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
so
I can't.
I cooked the first 5 years we were married, and then he started getting interested in food, and then just like totally surpassed anything I can do. So I'm like hardly in that kitchen at all, other than just like cheering. Yeah.
That's what my role would be. Woo! Go do it, Dennis.
Cheering. Wow.
Favorite meal of his that you love?
Noodles.
Noodles.
Yes, I love noodles.
Me too.
When you mean noodles, do you mean like Asian noodles or you mean like Italian pastas?
No, I like Asian noodles. Anything that I can put some hot sauce, like sriracha.
Ooh, hot sauce, my girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
You like spicy food.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Oh, I wish he would have come here to make us noodles. Maybe next time.
Maybe next
In
time.
the kitchen, just
Yeah.
doing up a bunch of noodles.
Yeah.
Okay, next time, Dennis, you're coming back. You're coming here. All right, so talking about, this passion of yours to see a hunger-free world, how did you get here today? I mean, where did your activist roots really come from? Because did that start young, or did it occur because something happened in your life? How did it all come to be?
I love this question because it gives me a chance to really honor my family and where I come from. But I grew up in a Christian home, grew up going to church and reading the Bible, and the example that my parents and my grandparents lived out for me, there was always room in our house for somebody that didn't have a place to stay, for someone who maybe was away from family at the holidays. Our table would extend, There was always room to be generous in our household. And so when I was in high school, I think I started to get more curious about the global issues, the world at large, and started to find out that, that there were people in the world that just didn't have enough, and that didn't sit right with me. And so I started asking a lot of questions about why, and why is it that some people have a lot and other people have little, and why is it that some people live in peace and
That was from high school.
Yeah, like these questions were really bothering me, and I would look to the scripture in the Bible, and I would see Jesus talking about how we were supposed to care for the poor and the oppressed and the hungry, right? We're supposed to visit those who are in prison, and so I stopped asking why. and I started asking, what can I do?
Yeah.
There you go.
We just spoke about that a couple of shows ago,
Yeah.
right? Changing your why to what.
Yeah,
So big.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so actually it was at a concert, a World Vision concert.
Nice.
When I was 18. I was there with my now husband, then boyfriend.
Okay.
And we were there at this concert, and it was the first time that I heard that there was something I could do right here at home to make an impact somewhere else in the world. So that was the first time that I decided to sponsor a child. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, and that just launched it from there. After that, anytime someone would give me a stage or a microphone or even just a moment of conversation, I was talking about our social responsibility, right? We got to love others.
Do you think that that's in everybody, like, and that they just need an outlet or permission or a start to that? Or do you think just for you, because of family upbringing, that came about?
I feel like I was designed for this. I feel like when I meet other people, I see their great capacity to love, and I feel like they were designed for it also. So yeah, I think it's in everyone, but maybe that needs to be something that sparks that. There needs to be sort of this catalyst, this moment that changes everything for them, and start to see the world differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Now, I know that you've also traveled, so you've been working with World Vision for the past 6 years. And that last year you and your husband went to Kenya. How was that? Was that the first time you traveled together overseas?
It was.
It was, okay.
Yeah.
How was that?
It
And
was
taking a chef to Kenya.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this trip was a World Vision Youth Leadership trip. So every year we bring students from across the country and we go and see World Vision's work. What was special about this trip is we were going to Kenya with a focus on learning about the hunger crisis, because East Africa is experiencing a massive drought.
Yeah.
And at that time when we were on the trip, it had been 2 years without rain in some parts of Kenya.
Wow.
And now it's been 3 years. And so we were there as a whole team, Dennis included, to learn about, young Kenyans, what they were doing, innovations in farming, how they were just overcoming these massive obstacles to becoming food secure. So when Dennis was there, he was cooking in kitchens. He was cooking alongside the mamas, and they were like making chapati bread and all these amazing foods. And then I was with the students, and we were talking with farmers, and we were learning about some really cool farming practices to try to accommodate for the change in the climate. So
I can only imagine how life-changing and perspective shifting that is, especially a chef, food industry, lots of abundant food. How did your perspective shift from that trip?
Oh yeah. So I know that with Dennis, he tried right away. He came home and was like, I have to address this in my cookbook, because he was in the middle of writing his cookbook, Eat Delicious.
Yeah, Eat Delicious,
And,
okay.
Yeah, and so he actually has stories from the trip to Kenya in that
In the
cookbook.
book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
And so, but for me personally, having been somebody who stood up and talked about hungry families and the importance of making sure that children have everything that they need, to be there and to see that there are so many obstacles to being food secure, and knowing where your food is going to come from every day, and actually just walking through a day in the life with some of these families that we're trying to help. It was definitely impacting. Yeah.
And so does it feel overwhelming to you? Like you come home, like a lot of people talk about the reverse culture shock. You come here and you come into a Western grocery store and you see this abundance of wealth and food, and it makes you angry or upset, or it overwhelms you in
Guilty,
some
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
What was that? What is that experience for you when you've been on a few trips, but when you come back and you're reflecting on your life here?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, of course, there's the anger of the injustice that you see, and there's trying to step into other people's shoes and really trying to empathize with the situation. But then there's also this room for grace, where you just sort of allow for, you just sort of, you hope, you have faith, and you believe that things are getting better, and you meet families who are finding joy in a lot of, in a lot of the little that they have. And so having that grace when you return home and seeing the excess, and just, understanding that these are two different worlds, but with people
Right.
being the same, with people having the same needs, and just trying to find that common ground.
Yeah. As you say this, and that's a great question, Joanna, that you said, especially because your specialty, you work with youth.
Yeah.
Not that the boomers, Gen Xers, millennials and whatnot can't obviously make a difference, but there's something about youth that, for you, the passion that they can change the world, like that there is something in youth and their passion and their just way to kind of forge forward is key. Talk to us about that, because I think as somebody who, I'm at a place where I'm thinking, who do I want to mentor? What kinds of things do I want to mentor young people in, focus them in? It'd be great to learn from you about how you see, the youth of, our world making that difference.
Yeah, so I think with young people, when they encounter a problem, they get curious about it, and so they dive in, they get really passionate, and they go all in with trying to learn as much as they can.
Yeah.
And so I also think that pushes them into spaces maybe that they're not as comfortable to go, or they wouldn't go if that passion wasn't there driving them. So I love creating space for young people so that they have an opportunity to stand up and speak to the things that matter to them.
Yeah.
Right? So I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing when we're talking about empowering and equipping young people. I think it's just making space for them to ask questions without judgment,
Yeah.
to have these strong feelings that we've already talked about in
Yeah.
a safe environment,
Yeah.
where we in turn have grace for them, and then also to create that space so that they can speak and bring their voice to that stuff,
Yeah,
So
that's
when you're talking about empowering and equipping, I love that. I love sort of this generation of young people that have a worldview. It's no longer
yeah.
myopic. It's like humanitarian, efforts that are burning in their heart. What does it look like day to day? Like when they hit the ground, when you go with a team of youth, like just kind of share with us, like sort of the great things that they're doing when they touch the soil.
Yeah. So we have youth that are taking action right here in Canada, as well as these youth that have gone and seen the work. And so for these young people that we took to Rwanda this past summer, Kenya the summer before that,
Nice.
when they return home, they have this community of other young people who are like-minded, who also want to see a hunger-free world. They have the support of that community, and they are encouraged to step out onto that public stage, as it were,
great.
right? To experience some of that. So right here in Canada, we have young people that are getting involved with World Food Day, and they are either speaking to the issue of global hunger, specifically what's going on right now in East Africa with this drought. They are hosting events and fundraisers to try to raise some awareness and raise some funds. But right now, these issues, not everyone is talking about this drought.
Yeah.
We just need to keep amplifying the challenges that people are facing on the ground.
And Leanne, I think that talks a lot about motivation. And I know you brought a verse that Joanna's going to read that is one that really has motivated you. And I think as we read it and discuss it for a little bit, it's a verse that we can all ourselves here and viewers can really kind of get behind to say, it's big. I mean, hunger-free world, wow, that'd be amazing. The numbers are huge. You start thinking about like a drought for 3 years. Like I can't even imagine that. And so it's overwhelming. But I think this verse sort of grounds us and will ground us in that. So Joanna, if you want to read it, and then let's have a little talk to discuss it a bit more.
Matthew 22 at verse 36. Someone is asking Jesus, "Teacher, which is the most important commandment in the law of Moses?" And Jesus replied, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And a second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. The entire law and all the demands of the prophets are based on these two commandments."
So why does that really speak to you with that verse?
It's just so straightforward, isn't it? Right? It's
Yeah.
just it's all right there. With love God and love others. They're just like each other. And so I think that for me in the work that I'm doing, as much as I can communicate to Canadian youth, the Canadian public as possible, that we need to be out there and loving other people. That's it's a transformative kind of love when we when we treat others with dignity and respect, right? It's a transformative thing that it affects our relationships, the people that we're loving and making space for, but it also transforms us as well.
Yeah.
And I believe that that's how we get to seeing things like a hunger-free world, when we're active in loving others.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I think, Cheryl, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, for me, that scripture, like it really hits hard, because I feel like it's a call to action, to be quite honest. I feel like in the kingdom of God, in the body of Christ, there seems to be this great disconnect. You know, we're so good at loving God and worshiping God. We're not so good in the whole love your neighbor part. We fall short there. And we don't understand that it is equally as powerful a commandment.
Yes.
They were together in that. And those were the two sort of great commandments that were given to us. And so we don't realize that is, it's an absolute direct outpouring. You can't do one without the other. And we somehow seem to think
good.
that we can. Yeah.
Well, there's this lawyer who's asking Jesus this question. That's the context of this story. And a lawyer, as we all know, they're looking for specifics. They might be known as legalistic because they're a lawyer. And so what he's really asking in the original context is, what type of laws are the best? So he means, like, Jesus, what do you think? What are the most important, like the household laws, or the religious laws that we should adhere to, or the laws for how we do, our practices with our farming and our animals, our business laws? There's all these different categories of law. Which is the most important category? And Jesus is like, no, you're missing the point. Because overarching every type of good thing that are in the laws is this overarching theme, which don't you see that they're all about the basic principle of love God, love yourself, love other people. And if you're missing that, then all the other stuff doesn't matter. So in the same way, like, well, the world is overwhelming, and which is the most important cause to help? Like, well, there's hunger issues, and there's there's issues of water issues, and there's issues of war, there's issues of environmental instability right now. Which is the one that I should deal with? And basically, it's like someone's asking that question, and Jesus is replying, you're missing the point entirely. It's not about which cause you should go after. Actually, those are all good causes and important things. But like, the overarching theme is this theme of great love. And if you don't start there, then it doesn't really matter which cause you're chasing after.
That's good, because I think it's, and being a Christian and being in this world and working not for profit and then doing this, it's actually sometimes more challenging, because sometimes it's easy to be in this world and think you're loving. But you're actually not really. Like, it's easy. And lately, my husband Chris and I have been really praying every day to say, help us love, like as you do, because I'm like, maybe I'm being very honest and transparent. Like, there are times where I'm like, I'm so not loving. I want to be selfish. It's a lot of work to love and to give myself and to be sacrificial. But then I'm like, wait a second. When I look at God's relationship with me, then I'm a little stunned, and I actually stand in awe about, like, whoa. Like, when you start thinking of it in that perspective, it's like, who am I to withhold that and not give sacrificially when the person who I follow, who I say I follow, did that for me? And it's like a real, like, whoosh. Right? Oh, yes. It's a good reminder.
And what's really, like, I think life-changing is when you realize that it's not a proximity thing, it's not a geographical real estate thing. Your neighbor is your neighbor. And we seem to think that my neighbors maybe, I'll go, like Scarborough, like Pickering, like Ontario, Canada. But our neighbor is right around the globe.
Brothers and sisters.
Yes.
And that's where we sometimes sit in our homes and look and go, aw, because we're not connecting the dots that is our neighbor.
And that was what was so beautiful about being in the homes of families in Kenya, and seeing how the food was made, and then preparing food together, and then sitting and breaking bread together. Is that we're all the same. We all enjoy to eat. We all need to eat, and so it's such a connector.
Wow.
Leanne, you're so passionate about this, you and your husband, about ensuring that the word gets out about, a hunger-free world. Talk to us about how, first of all, is it possible to have a hunger-free world, and how we can practically get behind this, support you, the work that you do, World Vision's work, but how do we do that really practically and easy in a way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing I would say for people to do is definitely go to worldvision.ca. They can give towards the hunger crisis in East Africa. The work over the years that I've been involved with helping to raise awareness for global hunger issues, the statistics are getting better. So the momentum is building, things are getting better, but we will have instances where we have emergencies, like in East Africa, pop up, and we need continued support for these areas. So donating, amplifying the message. If this is the first time that you're hearing about the hunger crisis in East Africa, educate yourself, learn more about it, tell everybody you possibly can. These are, get involved, post something on World Food Day, which is Monday,
Yeah.
Now, there's a video that's out that went viral that came out of World Vision Youth. Talk to us about that, because we're going to show that in the show.
I love that video,
Yeah,
by
so
the
talk
way.
to us about that, and then we'll
Brilliant.
just throw it in the show.
Yeah, so the video is just pointing to the fact that we bring a lot of attention to a lot of stuff. Some may be important to some people, but a lot of it not always important. And so this video is pointing to the fact that there are some things that are a matter of life for people in need.
There's all these viral challenges and things that we're so caught up in, but I love how you've got this sort of walking through and all these things going on.
Yeah.
Distracting, but the real...
That's our world, isn't it?
Very distracting.
Well, let's take a look at it right now, and then we'll come back and finish up the show. Take a look. What a great video.
Right?
There's over
I'm telling you.
260, 70,000
So good.
views on it already.
And it really
Creative.
gets you right
Yeah.
there at the
Oh my
end.
goodness! It
Yeah,
totally,
so
but I
creative.
was
Yeah.
guilty. I'm like, I remember that Beyonce.
Yes.
I was right there clicking
the
like,
challenges.
all the
Yeah.
challenges. That's so good.
Yeah.
So your
So
hope with
good.
that video is that when people, like we said before, we just showed it, that we look at it and go, our energies have been focused on that. We do those challenges, but it's time now to challenge yourself about making this a hunger-free world. Is that essentially what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to draw attention to that a hunger-free world is possible. We want to draw attention to areas where people are still living in food insecure, and that they need our voice. They need to be able to get involved in a lot of different ways. And one of the ways you can bring voice to what we've talked about is actually through social media. There's nothing wrong with posting and clicking and liking on a lot of these things, but how about adding in some stuff that is really important?
Which is actually, no, let's be honest, which is real.
Yeah,
The other things, that is a challenge
Yeah.
that will not go away. And that's what you were saying, is that in
Yeah.
all of these temporal, flighty things, this is a real challenge that is not going away.
for real people.
Yeah,
real
exactly.
people.
Yeah.
For real.
Real people that are suffering and need our help.
Yeah.
So again, social media for World Vision, what are the different things that people can access for you for more information?
We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're everywhere.
Oh, you're everywhere.
We're on all
And is it
socials.
World Vision Youth or is it worldvision.ca?
There's both. There's World Vision Youth, and there's
nice.
there is World Vision Instagram.
Instagram too.
Yeah,
Okay.
World
I
Vision
love that
Canada.
you have like a youth section. It's really good. I love it
Yeah.
because they're all over Instagram. I'm like, there they are again, doing really fun stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Leanne. I thank you so much for spending, your time with us and sharing. I think that
Thanks for
I've never
having
thought that this possibility that it could happen. We're a hunger-free world. Like it's exciting,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
to think nobody goes hungry. Like imagine that. That just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And I think that here at See Hear Love and for us, we can so get behind that. We are behind it. So we're so thankful that you're being an advocate and a voice for that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, good. I'm so glad. I'm glad. We were fun, girls. We were fun.
Yeah.
Well, to our viewers, thank you so much for being with us. We'd love for you to join us at See Hear Love, along with Leanne and her chef husband Dennis, to ensure that one day our world will be hunger-free. So we've made it really easy for you. Leanne did talk about all the social media things that you can connect with. But if you go onto our website at seehearlove.com and click on this big banner that's going to say hunger-free, it's a World Vision banner, click on it. It will prompt you to all the things that you can do to ensure that people will have food and that one day there will not be anybody hungry. Amazing how exciting that will be. Well, we're so glad that you've joined us today around the kitchen table. For more on Leanne, to read our blog posts and thoughts on the show, to ask questions on things we discussed today, or if you just need some prayer, and honestly, if you need some prayer to say, I'm kind of selfish, and I need to think more about others, that verse really kind of got me convicted, what do I do? We would love to connect with you. So just hit our button that says say hello and talk to us about that. Don't forget to check us out also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where we share behind the scenes footage, pictures, content, all kinds of fun stuff. And thanks for joining us, and know that you are seen, heard, and deeply loved by God. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.